Wealth, security, and opportunity are a byproduct of success. However, it often comes at the expense of deep personal satisfaction and happiness. This is the Design Your Destiny podcast, and I am your host, Penny Chason, board-certified hypnotist and #1 international best-selling author. I work with the highly successful influencers, business leaders, corporate leaders who desire a life by design. In this podcast, I will bring to you succinct solo episodes and interviews that dissect the challenges of success and highlights the ways to leverage your most underutilized asset, your subconscious mind. If you desire peace and happiness in your life, better health, and stronger relationships so you can enjoy the success that you have created, keep listening because this podcast is for you. Hey, what is coming up for you recently around fear and self-doubt? I want to dive into this because it comes up a lot this time of year as we're winding down a year and we're getting ready to move into the next year. The vision comes up, the things we want to accomplish, and we think things like, well, is this goal realistic? Is that limiting me? Should I stretch my goal? But what if I stretch the goal and I don't make it, right? And here's what I want to say about fear and self-doubt. And this comes from doing thousands of client sessions. That doesn't include the group work. I've spent many, many hours of my life working with the subconscious mind. And if we stretch it back to 2013, when I first got started, it's a lot of time that I'm put in, but I'm just referencing the past 3.5 years that have specifically dealt with people who are in the entrepreneur space, the coaching space, the personal development space. Here's what I can tell you about fear and self-doubt. Number one, you do not have to live with it. Number two, we exacerbate or we amplify those feelings when we put our attention on it. Thoughts can come and go, but when we focus our attention on those thoughts and feelings, things start to get bigger. Number three, when we're mindful of our thoughts, when we're mindful in everything that we do, there's less opportunity for these thoughts to come up. Now, here's the big one. When these thoughts and feelings of fear and self-doubt come up, they didn't start where you think they started. This is almost 100% across the board, okay? The fear and doubt did not start where you think or believe it started because there was a foundation for that. So I like to describe something that is referred to in the industry as a symptom producing event. In other words, that is the trigger that caused this to bubble up to the surface to the degree that you recognized that it is happening. Okay. So these thoughts have always been there. They've always been under the surface. Remember, if you're listening to this podcast, I know you've done reading around self-development, you've watched videos, you've listened to podcasts. 95% of what we do is subconscious. That means it's out of our conscious awareness. We're not paying attention to it. So these filters are running all the time. Our amygdala takes in information that we perceive and it compares it against past experiences, and it determines where that experience we're currently having falls on the spectrum of feeling safe versus feeling uncertain and unsafe and scary. Self-doubt is a little bit more complex, but we describe it as self-doubt. There can be a lot of different thought patterns and experiences that can stem from. But bottom line is when we do the subconscious work and we can go back to that core foundation of knowing without a doubt that we were created whole, that we are created more than enough, that we're created completely lovable and acceptable, and that it's nothing more than what other people have told us or have shown us through their actions that causes us to doubt that everything changes. Now, you might be thinking, well, this has absolutely nothing to do with my business. I'm a highly successful person. I'm a high performer. I'm a high achiever. So this really isn't that much of a problem. And I challenge you on that. And I say, yes, it is a problem, because this becomes a filter through it becomes a filter through which you make all of your decisions in your business. The Max Planck Institute has established this, and there's another group of researchers in Australia. I don't remember the name of the group, but they replicated this study. If you're given a set of choices, your subconscious mind, depending on which study you look at, makes the decision 7 to 11 seconds before your conscious mind makes a decision. So when you have a set of choices before you, your subconscious mind is deciding before it comes into your conscious mind what it is that you choose that you want to do. So when you're sitting in business and you're faced with a challenge, your subconscious mind is processing millions of bits of information that you're completely unaware of, and it is computing, yes, what it is that's in your best interest, what's going to keep you in a place where you're safe, protected, and accepted. This is where learning to be comfortable outside of our comfort zone is a key part of conditioning our brain for success. We have to be truly comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to train our brain that this is not a tiger that's about to chase us, through the fields and the wild. We're not being chased by a lion. We're not being chased by a bear. Being uncomfortable is safe, but that's just one aspect of it. And I really bring that up because so many people say, oh, you just got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, yeah, that's one part of it. But if the underlying beliefs don't shift, then the issue you're dealing with is going to show up in another way. When we're doing things that go against the protective mechanisms that we have in place, mentally, neurologically, I guess you could say, but more mentally, when we do things that go against that, and there is a hardcore belief that something is not safe, our body, our brain will find a different way to bring that to our attention. I've seen it before where I've watched people. I've had the privilege of observing and seeing people who do mindset work that does not include identifying and neutralizing these beliefs that are holding us back. Some people call them mental blocks or whatever you choose to call it. And what they do is they use regular self-hypnosis, they use affirmations, they use meditation. And what they're doing is think of a road that is full of potholes, right? And the city department comes through and they patch all the potholes. And if you live in a place like New England, once the snow comes, once the roads ice, they salt and they sand, the next spring, where they've patched all these potholes, the road is once again pockmarked. I mean, it will absolutely tear your car to pieces to drive on some of these streets. Now, when you patch those potholes, yes, the road is passable. You can get from point A to point B. It's a little bumpy and it's a little rough and there's a little wear and tear on your car. But then it shows up, right? The repair on the potholes doesn't last and it will tear your car up. At first, it slows you down, and over time, it tears your physical car up from being on those rough roads. A much better option would be to go in when those roads get bad like that and to tear out the road, lay a new foundation, and put an entire new smooth surface of pavement. And when you work with a subconscious expert, When you work with someone like me who has spent thousands of hours helping people uproot these beliefs and unplant them and put in their place a solid foundational identity that is aligned with your goals and desires and your purpose, everything changes. Things shift. It becomes easier. You're moving forward without resistance, and you will find that there is a huge ripple effect that goes into your relationships. It moves into your health. It moves into your sleep. Everything just begins to change because now the foundation is running smoother. It's more solid, and it allows you to create in flow. It allows you to not get slowed down. It allows you to avoid analysis paralysis, decision paralysis. And you can go out there and fearlessly, yes, fearlessly, create what it is that you want to create, provided that there are some other things in place that aren't a part of this episode, which is why I now offer a group mastermind that is a hybrid approach. We do this one-on-one work, but there's also the mastermind. And within that mastermind is where we build in place the things that help to support you to maintain that peace, to maintain that place of fearlessness and trusting yourself and believing in yourself and being able to go out there and do just like whatever the hell it is that you want to do and not be worried about what someone else says. You can be unapologetically you. There are some people who discount the mindset work, or we think we already know everything that we need to know. We think we've already done all the work. As many years as I've done this, I continue to work on myself. I have coaches that I reach out to. I do a lot of self-reflection. I do a lot of self-work. And I'm very aware of the point that it's like, okay, it's time to reach out. It's time to have a call, right? If you ever get to the point where you believe that you don't need more work, I invite you to seriously take a look at that, because you get the most benefit out of the subconscious work when you've already put into place a lot of these habits like journaling, meditation. Maybe you do self-hypnosis. It does. If you're doing meditation, you probably don't, but even affirmations, like when you have a good solid practice in those things, and then you come in and you do the deep subconscious work, you're really amplifying those other things. Those other things are going to make a more solid impact in your life when you have that smooth foundation. So just really to recap, fear and self-doubt, you don't have to live with them. It's not something to push through. And if you've pushed it down and you've pushed it aside and you think, you know what, I hope it doesn't come up again, in the next launch, or I hope it doesn't come up as I create this new offer. I hope it doesn't come up as I move into this merger or I get ready to sell my company, right? If there are certain triggers that have brought it up in the past and you feel like you've dealt with it, but you're saying, you know what, I hope this doesn't come up again, then you're prime candidate for this work. You're prime candidate to dive into this, because if you think it might come back up again, then you haven't reached that place of knowing inside of you that it's taken care of, which means there's some remnants there. There's something left to be taken care of. You can always apply anytime for the Aligned and Expanding Mastermind. What is the Aligned and Expanding Mastermind? It is a you strategy business mastermind that allows you to implement individually what it is that you need so that you are aligned in your purpose, in your business, in your personal life, and you allow that to unfold and expand your vision, expand your business, expand your connections. However it is that you're choosing to expand, it allows that to open up for you. So we'll put the link in the show notes where you can apply for the Aligned and Expanding Mastermind. And I hope to connect with you, to chat with you, to talk to you, to see if you're a fit, to talk about your goals. And if I believe that this is something that will help to get you to where you want to go, I would love to have you join me. I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to this episode of Design Your Destiny. I would love to know what resonated most with you. So just take a screenshot of this episode, share it over on your Instagram stories, and tag me at penny.chason and let me know what you thought. Also, if you head over to iTunes and you leave a positive review, it helps this podcast to help reach even more people, making a difference, elevating humanity and mankind.